All right, good evening. It is Monday, December 30th. I call this meeting of the North Brookfield Board of Selectmen to order. It is 6:03. If you all rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, we don't have any minutes tonight. I'll entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant number 14 for $369,375.20. School warrant number 1048 for $166,882.17. The fire highway warrant for 1049 for $304,246.11. General warrant number 1050 for $83,107.96. General warrant number 1051 for $700,332.75.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. We don't have any spending requests tonight. So the ARPA money that we received, upwards of around $1.4 million a couple years ago, has to all be expended by the end of this year, or it has to be allocated by the end of this year. And we have done that, so we have some MOUs to sign and send back. It's got all the details of what we spent on each project, whether it was highway or the senior center or the sewer. And I'll entertain a motion to approve and sign those MOUs.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, just a quick question for clarification. Are all of these the projects that are either have not yet been started or in process? Because it's not the 1.4 million.
It's in process, so they
All
have
the in
been-
process.
Everything else has been spent. These are the couple of things that they still need to finish up.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Okay, great. Thank you. And that clears all of it? We've used all
That
of
will
it?
be everything, yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Any more discussion?
Nope, I'm all set.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next thing we have is a cleaning contract for Paul Doobie for the senior center. It's PD Services. We have a quote here.
You guys approved it, you just didn't sign the actual.
We
Yeah,
did.
We
Yep.
did, yeah.
It's got all the, emptying trash, dust, everything, clean everything, polish all the glass, dust all the countertops, disinfect light switches, door handles, wash and sanitize tables, vacuum all areas, mop all hard surfaces, and that's in the entryways and common areas. All the same for the restrooms with the inclusion of acid clean the toilet bowls as needed. And then in the kitchen, all the same stuff. So I'll entertain a motion to sign that contract.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion?
That's great.
Have we looked into possibly retaining their services for the other buildings we talked about, like the police department and the town offices
I'm gonna
potentially?
reach out when I give him the signed contract, I'll ask him for a quote for both of
I
those.
wanted to see how he did first, see how the
Yeah.
service is.
Sure.
Right,
makes sense.
that's a good idea.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, Brooke, you want to read that letter?
For Complete Streets? Is that
Yeah.
where we are? Okay. Dear Ms. Panucci, the town of North Brookfield is officially requesting additional funding from the Complete Streets Grant Program. We were awarded $400,000 for sidewalk improvements in 2022. We have completed all design work and the project will go out to bid in mid-May of 2024. The town worked diligently to make the cuts to the project in order to stay within budget. However, we believe the bids will still come in over the budgeted amount. We understand the maximum allowable funds to be $500,000, and we are formally requesting to receive the additional $100,000. If you have any questions about this request, please do not hesitate to reach out directly. Thank you for the opportunity to work together. This is one we sent out in May, last May.
All right, and then we got approval,
Yes.
right? And that's what this next letter is for.
Yep.
Yeah, they want signatures on both of them.
Okay. So this one here is an agreement for the additional funding, and it says, "Dear Ms. Panucci, Town of North Brookfield appreciates approval of an additional $100,000 that will supplement the initial award of $400,000 in 2022 for the total award of $500,000 related to the reference project. It should also be noted the town was awarded a shared streets and open spaces grant in the amount of $200,000 that is funding various improvements along North Main Street, including mobilization, police details, and engineering oversight. The design effort was completed this spring. The project was advertised in early May. Bids opened on May 31st. The contract awarded to and signed with JL Construction Corporation in September, and construction operations commenced by October 30th. And there's a summary of all the costs, and then there's a summary on the back of the additional costs. And then there's a balance, looks like left over of $3,986. So I'll entertain a motion to sign and send back both of those letters.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
So all of this is covering the costs of the one side of North Main Street, correct? The sidewalk that's near completion or is completed?
Uh-huh.
This covers School Street too, or,
Some of that, yeah.
okay.
And Vibram's doing some of that.
So we're gonna need to reapply for this grant again to do the other side of the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think the committee's working on that already, so.
Perfect.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's see, it's 6:10. We have a poll hearing at 6:15. So I don't want to really get into the discussion about the fire and highway project till after the poll hearing. If you guys don't mind waiting a couple more minutes.
No, it's fine.
Right, and who's here for the poll hearing? Anybody?
There should be someone from National Grid.
Oh.
We won't be able to do it if someone from National Grid's not here.
No, we won't.
Mm-mm.
All right, well, we can go to some other stuff and see what happens. All right. So we get a partial lien release next. This is for National Grid, all right. Land located at Crooks Road in said town, said property being shown as Lot B consisting of 5.713 acres. Plan of land of map 24, lot 27. Alice and Mary Wheatina, which plan is filed in the Worcester District Registry of Deeds. So I'll entertain a motion to sign the partial release for this property.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Yes, I have a question, because it says the town will not exercise its first refusal option to meet a bona fide offer to purchase that portion of land. Was it up for sale for us initially,
So-
or?
It was in chapter 61A, and you guys
Got
released
it,
that
okay.
a few weeks ago, but she had a housing rehab loan, not loan, but she went through the housing rehab program, so she had some of her house redone, but they put a lien on her whole property, so she wasn't
I
able to
gotcha.
sell that portion of her property, so we're releasing that
That-
portion of the lien.
got it.
Yeah, it really had nothing to do with the physical property, just the house, so.
That's what was confusing.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is a little
good.
confusing. I've never seen it done like this before, so.
It's
was
written
new for-
funny.
Yeah.
Where, okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, bumping into things. That was it,
All right,
just clarification.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. And 2 more minutes. Alright, let's see. Alright. Vaughn, you wanna read the resignation letter?
Let me just find it real quick. Somewhere. Oh, you have a copy. Perfect. Says, Select Board and Courtney Rivera, COA Director. Dear members, I am writing to formally resign from my position as Program and Outreach Coordinator with North Brookfield Senior Center, effective immediately 12/19/2024. The decision has not been made lightly. Over the course of my tenure, I have appreciated the opportunity to serve the community and contribute to the organization's goals. However, I have found that the limitations placed on my role from the director of the COA have prevented me from utilizing my full range of skills and talents. As someone deeply committed to making meaningful contributions, I feel it is in my best interest of both myself and the organization to step aside. Sincerely, Nicole Eccleston.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept Nicole Eccleston's resignation from the senior center.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now, who's here for the poll hearing? All right. So, let's see.
Smith
Do you want to
Johnson.
explain real quick what you're doing, or
Again,
please?
of course. Good evening. We are asking for permission to put 4 joint-owned poles along Smith Hanson Road to provide power to Smith 16 Smith Hanson Road, new residential that's going up, and then eventually 12 Smith Hanson, which is also gonna get built at some point
Great.
per the builder.
Okay.
Great.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the new poll locations.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
No?
No?
Anybody else here for that, the hearing? Any abutters, or? I'm actually in a butter and I really don't care. So.
I was wondering if you were. I thought that was near you.
All right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. All right, now, the fire highway project.
Oh.
All right, so, in our effort to have updates for everybody, regarding the projects that we're doing in town, I took it upon myself to ask everybody to come here tonight because we are getting low on our
Contingency?
contingency funds, because there have been some extra things that have been approved and missed or whatever down at the first building we're on, and we don't really have any more money than what we've already gone to the town for, and you know, have agreed to borrow. There were some things that came up that seemed to be emergent, based on some of the meetings that I've heard about recently. This was just a week or two ago. And we had some issues with an oil tank being approved. So basically what I'm wondering is I would like the people that are, you know, in charge of the project, you know, the ones that are actually getting paid to do the project, to give us an update on where they think the project is and where they think it's going from here. Because, you know, we have a committee that's supposed to be keeping an eye on this as well. We have, Tony's our OPM, and he's been working on that. He's been at every meeting, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. So, if one of you wants to take the floor, and then we can ask questions.
Sure. So also here tonight from Tecton, Jeff McElravy. Jeff has been at as many meetings as I have over the past 4 years or so. And with him is John Vitti. He's really the day-to-day architectural construction administration rep for Tecton, shop submittals, administrating the contract progress as well. So where we are really in the grand scheme of the 3 building projects, we're still in the very beginning.
Yes.
But in that beginning phase, you're absolutely correct in that there was a large chunk of scope of work and funding that came to play in this project. A few months back, I was asked to come to a select board meeting. Bay Path School had advised that they were not going to be able to help out with the electrical work at the highway barn, former Huck's building. That was really the bulk of the change order cost, to the tune of about $160,000. It had always been set up for the past couple of years that would be a way to make a significant savings on that part of on that phase of the 3 phases of the project. The other buildings are a bit more intricate in their electric work, finished walls inside the fire station, and really getting beyond that first phase was critical to getting the other phases complete. I think where you are now, where the project is, phase 1, we've pretty much uncovered all the skeletons. We know where things are. You all have been instrumental in getting over the hurdle of the oil tank, the fuel tank, signing the change orders to put that scope back in to the contractor's hands. There's been some other, I would say, more minor scopes, getting some stuff out of the way, the clean burn system, getting the cabinets worked out. The stress that I would say is being put on you at this point of the contract is a bit suspect. I'm not one that generally believes every time a contractor in the public sector screams, "You, the owner, is holding me up," that it is actually valid and has weight to it. There are things that we, as the owner's team, could have, should have had done and out of the way sooner. Whether it's the electrical scope or the oil tanks, some of those scopes we definitely could have addressed earlier. That being said, I think where phase 2 and phase 3 are, there's less urgent, right, because they're in those future phases. But there's still work in there on the owner's behalf, that if the town is not going to be able to perform, self-perform, have done with your own forces, then you are going to have to look at the budget and how those things get procured by some other means. And knowing that anytime you give a contractor a change order, I want to speak ill of contractors that might be out there listening.
Well, there's some in here too.
Yeah.
And some in here. Change orders are a dirty word, right? You can't control the markup. Things tend to cost more. You try to get them to a reasonable cost, but there's just intrinsic costs that you're never going to squeeze out of it. On the credit side, you're never going to get a dollar for dollar back either. So, we need to play that in mind. So if there are scopes that we need to get different proposals for, and I'm thinking about, like, the water line was a good solid scope of work. Probably the biggest chunk in the existing or the coming up 2 phases is all of the site work. is there gonna be a repaving? Is there going to be earthwork done out there? What are we going to do? Well, that was always by the town.
Yeah.
I was the one that actually went to planning, site plan approval, and said, we're not doing any of this. This is the town later.
Mhm.
But if I go by the rumblings of, hey, we need to repave this whole place, and we're gonna scarify it, and maybe break up the pavement, and what happens underneath the pavement, that's something that we all, for years of the design and bidding, have stayed away from on purpose. If that were to come to be, then you need to look at a different means and methods for getting that work completed.
Mhm.
There's masonry on the current highway building that we've been discussing. We can get a proposal from the, what's called file sub-bid mason, to do a full repointing, refresh of the entire mortar grout system, get that building to look like a shiny sneaker, if you will. But there's gonna be a significant cost to it. These were things that this project had costed originally, were pulled out for value engineerings and cost savings. That if you walk over to that building today with the contractor, who's doing a good job, and I'm not beating him up for it, but he points out, there's cracks all over this building. I'm gonna walk away and I'm not gonna fix them. Are you okay with that? We need to be okay with that. If you're not okay with it today, even if you were 3 months, 6 months ago, we just need to know how you wanna remedy it. And there's different options we can do. We can close out one contract, we can rebid another.
And I think part of that too is why we have a building committee. So when these things come up, they can talk about them, find a solution or two, and if they can't, first of all, if they do find a solution, bring it to us so we can, look at it and approve it.
Yeah.
Or if they can't find one, let us know right away so we can find a solution, right? So, and that's the whole point of having the building committee, is to keep an eye on this stuff and to work out some of these problems. So, do you have more to add?
No, Jeff, you wanna
No, I think that's
jump in?
a pretty comprehensive outline. This project started with, a series of quotes provided by the fire department and the highway department. And, I added some dollars to that without any fee, without any detailed study, which ultimately was the amount that the town appropriated for this project. And, quite frankly, as we started into the design, there were lots of things that were asked for, that were not on the list. And so I know it's very painful for the members of the fire department, members of the highway department to see that opportunity go by. But from the estimates that we got along the way, we said we couldn't afford to do anything that wasn't on the list.
All right, so,
Except some things that were absolutely necessary because of the scope of items on the list. I think, a couple of examples of that are the structural reinforcements of the Hart buildings because of the additional load of the roofing system and the insulation. That wasn't in the original estimates, but it had to be done to support the insulation. The change of use, basically, of the current DPW building into an apparatus facility for the fire department. Fire departments are a higher risk category than highway departments. And so there's structural upgrades. Again, fortunately, we did throw some money in there for that. That is accommodated in the budget. So there was a lot of great big hopes about what could be accomplished, and the reality is that in order to fit the budget and in the list of original appropriations, we had to cut a lot of that, those ideas back. It was a great boom for the project when we believed that the school was going to do a lot of the labor for us. I share concerns about where we are with remaining contingency on renovation projects, even nice clean renovation projects. There's always surprises in the work. So I think this is going to it's gonna take careful management. And I don't think it's unrealistic to at least have a conversation about
So what's the,
engineering either.
what's the process, for instance, if we want to change something that's existing in the print to something that is not as expensive?
That would be a change, a proposal that we would make to the contractor. You know, we'd identify what the new system product, whatever it is, and then get a proposal. You know, we'd be expecting, because of the lesser value, to be seeing a credit on that.
Okay, and for, you know, case in point, right, the Hux building, then the highway barn, okay? In the restrooms, it has ceramic tile on the floor and ceramic tile on one wall, on the wet wall. Is there a reason why we couldn't go with VCT in the bathroom floors and FRP on the walls?
Nope.
Okay, and that would probably be cheaper than ceramic tile.
Which one's abstract?
Because it's,
Have they already been approved, though?
As
So
long as-
contractors submit material submittals early on.
Mhm.
The caveat that I'm throwing in there is if they've already submitted the tile, we said, yes, that's what's specified, and they bought it,
Yeah.
you may already own it.
right, if they bought it.
If they-
Right.
Yeah. And there's a couple examples of where we can take moves like that. But we've got to have a conversation with the contractor about what's purchased, what's in and
Right.
out, what isn't purchased.
And because, you know, we're really at our borrowing limit, so the budget is what it is. We can't go back to the well for more money,
I understand.
okay? So it's not like we can say, all right, well, we'll just go to the voters and, you know,
Add more.
add some more money. We can't borrow it. We don't have, we're at our maximum limit. So, you know, we're gonna have to find places to cut if that's necessary. And again, that's probably, you know, a place for the committee to get involved and start looking at these things and make suggestions. So we can find some places to save money.
Yeah, and to that point, one follow-up from the earlier conversation, I have been in contact since the last Board of Selectmen meeting that I was at with Bay Path. We agreed to get together after the holidays, you know, mid-January. They do have a full set of drawings from both these remaining buildings and looking at what scope they can help out with. So I expect, you know, mid-January, we'll know more about what they can help with and what that might mean.
Now, the Zoom meetings, those aren't posted, right, the contractor meetings?
Correct.
Right, so can we start posting those so we can have a quorum of the committee present?
I would rather you did.
You rather what?
I would rather you not.
That was part of the
Okay.
email.
Construction meeting.
Yep, we
It's
did.
not meant to be a public meeting,
Right.
and it's not gonna go well.
The only people that have to talk in that meeting is the person running the meeting.
Okay?
You don't have to,
But if it's posted as a public meeting,
like, for instance, this
You don't
meeting,
have to have a
this
comment.
meeting
No,
here,
you don't have to.
this meeting here is a Board of Selectmen's meeting.
correct.
Technically, we don't have to ask anybody for their opinion, or we don't have to let anybody say anything. We do it because it's courtesy and we believe it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
But if you're having a construction meeting for the public, that would be information only. You know, they're not gonna get involved. If they've got a question, they can send us an email or a letter or a phone call.
Done.
But they don't need to participate.
Okay.
Only the people in the meeting are there to participate, the ones specified. That's the way all meetings, all public meetings are. It's in public, so people can come to them, and they can see what we're talking about. And we have the public comment period, and we let people raise their hand, and because we feel that, you know, it's a selectmen meeting, and people should be able to say something if they want to.
Okay.
And
But-
it's not a requirement,
Right, it's not a requirement.
so
Right.
you're doing it upon the request of the selectmen.
Okay.
All right.
And that's the
Every meeting
select
is not a
board.
Zoom meeting, is it?
It's,
No.
the meeting, the posted
So
meeting is the
weekly
public body.
OAC meetings are Zoom with the exception of the second Thursday of the month, which we do in person, so that, because we generally follow that with the building committee meeting.
Yep.
We're all here, we walk around the building, we get the pay rec.
You
in
could
advance,
post,
we do
you
all
could,
that.
you could post them as a building committee meeting, and the building committee chair can run them. He could just turn it over to you.
Okay,
That way there, it's the actual committee, and the chair would be the one to say who gets to speak and who doesn't. That way there, you don't have
They're separate meetings.
interruptions.
right.
The two separate meetings.
Right, I get that.
One earlier, yeah, okay.
But if you post them all, then we don't have to worry about whether or not there's a quorum there.
Oh, you post them all as you post that one as a building committee meeting?
Yes.
That's what the building committee is, yeah, gotcha.
Right.
But then, do I have to have a quorum of the building committee to have my weekly OAC meeting?
Yes.
You would need a quorum, yes.
So that's gonna be critical.
I can't make the day meetings, so I work.
Okay.
How many people are on the committee?
3.
There's
Right.
5.
There are 5? All right, so Paul, Eric, Brian, Darren, and Randy.
And Randy.
Okay. Can we get a quorum to them?
I can go to any of them.
What's your purpose of getting a Zoom meeting on these?
What's my purpose?
Yeah, because
Because that way there, the committee's there to discuss things. And they can actually come up with plans and decisions. And we've got emails from people on the committee that they don't know when decisions were made and when things were done. So I think it's fair that we have a quorum of the committee so we can actually get minutes from the Zoom meetings.
there's minutes that have been distributed every week on what the meetings are about, and they go to the selectman's office and the committee members.
Okay,
I just think, these meetings, Tony, are strictly for contractors and your architects and your OPMs, is that correct?
Yeah, there's generally, at every OAC meeting, it's primarily OAC, owner, architect, contractor meetings. If it's a fire or a police station, whatever it is, there's usually a representative there of that group, the end user, shall I say, and there's usually a representative of the building.
and these happen every week?
Yes,
All right. And the committee only meets once a month?
We
correct.
can change that.
Well,
That was the recommendation.
well, I think we do need to change that. Because we did bring it up last time we met, that meeting that Tony was referenced about a month and a half ago. And it was suggested that the committee only needed to meet once a month. Well, we had an instance where a bill was submitted, but it was paid late, and we have a late fee. Because the committee only meets once a month, it didn't get approved and paid on time, so we got a $195 late fee on top of the bill. And if the committee met every other week, like the town boards meet, so we can make the payroll, make all the warrants, then that would have
Is
been,
that the Prescott
bill,
bill?
I believe that's the one, yeah.
Because the information I got was that she had the signatures on it, but didn't process it.
It was just left in a folder on my desk. I didn't even know it was there. So until I opened it up and saw what it
All the
was.
bills go to, I think, at the time, it was either Mike or
So-
Sheila that was at the meeting. They,
Different bill,
Different bill?
different bill.
Okay.
so I'd like to know more about what that bill is.
Right.
Because everything that I've received, I've always brought it to the committee and got it signed off on.
Jamie?
And there's been times when it goes to the selectman's office and then they forward it on to me. And then that's the only way that I know about it.
Right.
is
Jamie?
Somebody else
So-
sends it to me.
So I've been going to meetings, I've been listening on the contractor meetings. And, you know, I've spent a substantial amount of time just listening. And, you know, for me, I work in the private industry, but things work a little bit differently, so it's a bit of an education for me. But as time goes by, you know, the committee meetings feel more like, and I apologize, I don't mean this word in a negative sense, but it feels more like a formality. It feels more like, showed up, we talk about what bills need to be paid, and the bills, yep, we take a vote, they take a vote, bill gets paid. But really, it's the contractor meetings where the action is. As far as things are decided, you know, well, not things are decided, decisions are communicated. Okay? And that, you know, there's been a theme through this where it's been the contractors, which, you know, I hold a pretty high opinion of the contractors. I mean, I do understand what you're saying as far as contractors tend to cry wolf before they, but genuinely, they come off as pretty legit guys, and they have concerns, and they have concerns for us.
Agreed.
And that it seems like when the contractor meetings happen, there are things that the owner is responsible for, and that the owner needs the answer for, and everybody's waiting for that answer. And the trend has been no answer, no action, no answer, no action. And to hear that on top of the contractor making a statement that he's 4 to 5 weeks behind. Okay? Now, I manage a business. I know what 4 to 5 weeks not mean. It means money. There's a cost associated with that. And there's a cost that's incurred from these delays. And if the answer isn't in the contractor meeting, it's another week. And, you know, there's been, you know, Randy's been at the meetings, Darren's been at the meetings, and they have some knowledge as to the tasks that they're assigned, but certainly they don't have knowledge as far as overall responsibilities of the committee. And the contractor meeting is kind of left hanging. And so you attend these, you listen in, and week after week, it's the same conversation, the same topics, the cabinets, the oil tank. And, you know, again, I manage a business, so when the contractor communicates his pain, I can identify with that. He's doing his thing, he's doing what he's contractually obligated to do, and trying to make money doing it, and there's delay, and that costs money. And there is no money. So, I mean, where does this get picked up? Where does this get, so, you know, as far as posting the contractor meetings, it's really a matter of trying to get enough of the owner there to be able to answer these questions. Because that's the time it needs to happen. So, you know, if posting the meeting is the way to get there, then we post the meeting. Now, do I think it's a perfect solution? No, I don't. But why are we here? Why is it happening? Something's got to happen. Something different. Because we are in the beginning. And, you know, we did a walkthrough meeting. We walked around the apparatus building, and, you know, I'm listening, and finally, you know, Tony, contractors, like, look, you got, what is the biggest single factor in contributing to the problems here? And everyone looked me dead in the face and says, the owner. Okay? The owner not communicating and not meeting its obligations. So, you know, all kinds of solutions that aren't perfect, but at the end of the day, the problem does need to be fixed. And if it needs to be fixed by opening the meeting up, having more people there, as long as the answers come, sure. But far from perfect.
So that's, I suppose, to answer Eric's question, that's why I'd like to have a quorum of the committee at these meetings. Because ultimately, the buck stops here, right? Okay? And we're obligated to the taxpayer for the money on this job. And we're obligated to the taxpayer and those departments that have those, that are gonna be housed in those buildings, to have a decent building. And if the committee needs to be there at those meetings in order to fix a problem, because a lot of these things that came up, like the oil tank and the cabinets and whatever else, okay, we hear about it as there's an issue, we're working on it, whatever. It's never come to us like
Yeah, we
it's
hate this.
urgent or emergent, whatever you, however you want to say it, until a week and a half ago, when we started hearing about the you know, the oil tank, and the one that we were going to put in doesn't work, it doesn't fit the system, it's not going to be warranted, whatever the case may be. So I went down and I looked at that plan, and I talked to the contractor, and we've emailed back and forth since with everybody, you know, involved. And it's curious to me, you have a blueprint that shows a system. And I know that you guys have seen my emails and you've seen this question, but I'm reiterating it so we can have this discussion. So you have the mechanical system is drawn, and it ends in two little squiggly lines that shows that that's the end of what they're doing. And then it has a little rectangle that says tank by owner. Okay? All right. So how can you design a system to go to an unknown tank? And how can you buy a tank and supply a tank if you don't know what it's going to be? Because that's not on there. We had to get that done, what was it, 6-7 days ago we got from the engineer, because we nagged them repeatedly to get us this tank spec. Which, and I mean, I nagged the contractor, I nagged Tony, I nagged,
No, no.
you know. So, go ahead.
So the answer, when you're going through the design process, putting these drawings together, and Jeff and John are trying to put information on a document that's gonna go out to bid, how does this happen? The other 7 to 10 people in the room who are trying to balance budget, work, drawing, and what goes on the drawing, say, draw the squiggly line, I'll get the tank.
Mm-hmm.
I know where I'm getting it, I know what I need, I know everything, I got it, put by owner. That's how that happens. So the fact that the question came, valid question, how does this happen? How do we now get that information? You get the information from an engineer who's not contracted to really provide that, but did the work to give you the information to get the right tank, because they want to keep the project moving.
Right.
The other entity, shall I say, that said, I got it, I'll get the tank, don't worry about it, isn't here.
Okay.
And that's how that happened. That's how doors happen. That's how overhead doors for a long time were gonna.
Okay,
don't-
so how long has it been since we knew we needed an oil tank?
Always, since
Always,
before the
from the
project went to bid.
beginning.
From the
Before
purchase of the
July.
building.
Okay, so we knew in July that we weren't gonna be able to use the one that we thought we were gonna be able to use.
No,
That's not true.
we always knew we weren't gonna be able to use that one. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I was not aware of that until. You're wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong.
What was the question?
When did we know that the oil tank,
September, somewhere thereabouts.
okay,
But we were in the process of getting the tank. When we got the tank, we got the oil tank.
okay,
So,
okay.
we were in the process of getting the tank. Randy was scoping that out, he was quoting it out. We gave him, he came back to us with quotes.
Right, the quote was for a 600-gallon tank, which is 13 weeks out. We had to get approval from the engineer in writing, because I can't just take it by word. So we got it in writing that we could go with a 500-gallon tank, which is sitting in Auburn right now.
And that information never made it back to us.
So this was all within the last week. Okay? So, and everybody's been forwarded on the emails since that happened. Okay? So and this is a week. Okay? So, the pad for the tank is gonna be poured on Friday.
Yep.
And then next week, we can have the tank delivered and set right on the pad. Okay, it's not 13 weeks out anymore. So, that being said, this is why I want the committee at these meetings, so we can have a discussion on what the problems are and hopefully find a solution at that meeting. Okay? And if people can't make it to the meetings, then we need different people on the committee. So, yes, Darren.
That was gonna be my question, if we don't get a quorum, because now you're telling guys like me and Eric that say, hey, sorry you got a full-time job, you can't participate anymore, because we can't make some of them, are we not gonna be able to have a quorum?
Well, maybe the choice is to add another person to the meeting.
I think things can be reorganized in the process.
Explain.
Accommodate what we wanna do, as far as the OAC meetings, updates. I think could have better detail in it to be conveyed to the committee, so when we have our meetings, we can bring these questions and problems up
So,
to a meeting. And I think we could probably go to an every other week meeting, which will speed things up.
okay, so as the chair of the committee, are you gonna be able to provide us weekly updates on any issues that we have? So we can make sure they're solved?
I will come to every selectmen's meeting to provide you what I know, what's going on, and get your feedback on it. But I just I don't like the OAC meetings to be public meetings, because I don't think they need to be. I think it stays within.
Well, you know most people aren't gonna go to them anyway.
Doesn't matter, it just creates another obstacle.
But
There's something there that somebody's gonna be sitting there waiting for you to make a mistake and then bring it out. Okay? That's what they're doing, they're waiting, they're sitting out there.
Right, but
hovering over
but the whole point of having the committee there is to find the mistakes and bring them out.
And that's why we have the OPM's updates.
But the
They're there with
committee's supposed to,
Discussing the project.
Eric, the committee has to find the answers to these problems, and this has been since September on the oil tank.
I disagree.
Disagree on what?
This problem didn't come up until just recently. We've known that we've had to do it, but
What wasn't until recently, though?
the tank, we had to authorize.
Right, but that was,
People to-
right, but that was a
research it.
600-gallon tank that's 13 weeks out.
Like I said, I never got the information back until you stepped in. So. Too many
have
people on
anything
the
to add?
pot.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to, listen to all of the things, all the information coming in, because this is the first time I've really been privy to any issues and holdups,
Go on.
other than, the change orders that have come through. So
Yeah, likewise,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything additional to add. I do like your suggestion about having those be more public meetings. I think it would be productive. It would help with the communication flow much better as well. It's just, of course, the obstacle of having committee members be able to attend those meetings.
I mean, Mike's been at a lot of the meetings. I mean, he's representing the town side, correct?
I've been at all the meetings, but, I mean, I don't have any authority to speak for the committee. And when I was asked for authority, for example, to purchase a cabinet, you told me no.
Yeah, because of the way that it was presented. The way, your email came back that you were looking for $2,651.
That's a pretty inexpensive kitchen.
Understood.
I'm told the one at
We
this,
raised our limit.
I'm told the one at the
because
fire
of the
station
holidays. We
was
said, okay,
60,000.
spend up to this amount of money, and then.
I couldn't
get what
put a
you can.
kitchen in
All
for
right, let's keep this through.
$2,000.
Let's keep this through the
It'll
chair
be
now.
approved,
Hey,
Mike.
guys, don't make me bang the gavel. All right, we all know better. We all know. Let's go back and forth through the chair, please, so we don't have any big arguments. Tony?
Speaking through the chair, if I may, I wouldn't so much need public at an OAC meeting. I like what you're thinking, but public isn't gonna help us make a decision.
It's not about.
If someone's gonna be
Right.
at the OAC, it needs to be a decision maker who, when we say this falls on the owner, I don't know that the committee can say, I got that, I'll go run with it. Or are they expected to say, I'll take that to the board on Tuesday or whatever day?
If that's what they need to say, any one of the committee members can do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a quorum there to do it. But
That's what we
what it needs to be is, if you have two people there every time, doesn't matter who it is, okay? So they can, because that's not a quorum, they can talk freely, okay? One of them can go to the chair. One of them, that same person, can email the Board of Selectmen, the town administrator, let us know what's going on. You got 48 hours, you can call them, you can post a meeting of the committee within 48 hours, have a committee meeting, and solve the problem. Okay? It doesn't have to wait the month, it doesn't have to wait 2 weeks, it doesn't have to wait for a Board of Selectmen's meeting. It's just a matter of taking it and fixing it. How are we gonna do that?
But does that require a public meeting? I
It
kind of
doesn't-
feel
it-
the same way
it-
about a
it-
public meeting
Well,
for.
I
again,
need somebody
work-
there with
a
a
work
decision-making
meeting.
authority.
again, the only reason to have the posted meeting is to allow for a quorum of the committee.
I hear what you're saying, to have the
Okay?
building
The
committee.
public, first of all, their Zoom meetings, nobody's gonna go to them anyway,
They will, they
Okay.
will, some people will.
okay? They'll get tired of it, though. They don't need to speak either. They don't need to be allowed to speak, okay?
Okay.
But what we need to do is, we need to not have this happen again. Okay, there's been too many things. We have to start having meetings to discuss potential cuts. Okay, because you know there's gonna be more contingencies that come up. We got 2 more buildings to do. So we gotta find potential cuts or we're gonna be really stuck. All right? And that's gotta start as soon as possible. I know we got a holiday here on Wednesday, but, you know, the committee needs to get involved and start looking for places to fix before it's too late. Because we, like I said, we don't have the borrowing power, and I'm not bringing anything back to the town for more money. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to, point of clarification, we checked the RFI log, the day that we became aware that the tank being provided was not gonna meet the system requirements was October 31st is when we received the ARPA.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And you got that from who?
From the contractor, from WJ Mountain.
Okay, and when was,
Their sub probably alerted them to it, and they wrote the RFI, sent it that day.
okay. Eric had his hand up.
I think the solution is to give Mike some power to be able to convey information, make some decisions. He will be able, I suspect he will be able to make the meetings. And if there's some decisions that need to be made on behalf of the town, I would give him the power to make those decisions and convey it back to you guys. Because he's gonna be in town, he's at the offices every day. You guys are in most communication with him directly. So I would give him some power to make some decisions and give you some feedback.
Okay, noted. Jamie?
Is that really what Mike's here for? Is that really what we hired Mike for?
Manager?
Certainly a portion of it, yes. Yeah, there's some management of,
All right, well, yeah, see, because the committee gets a task. They've got owner responsibilities. The committee sits down, they discuss it, who's walking away with assignments, okay? Folks walk away with assignments, okay? Who's following up? If somebody doesn't come back a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, okay? There's status updates, okay? How are you doing on that? I'm striking out, or I'm having problems, or I think I've got a solution, or I don't have enough information. The tank guy is asking me for specs that I'm not really feeling comfortable with. The cabinets. Have you looked at the cabinets? I haven't had a chance to look at the cabinets. Okay. Are we going to use the cabinets? I'm not really sure. Okay, next week. Did you look at the cabinets? Well, I don't. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we need to find another solution to look for the cabinets. Right? It is a team, and the team needs a leader. And without a leader, the team is going to be ineffective. And by, no offense, Mike, no offense,
Okay, yeah.
but asking somebody else to step in for a team leader, does it seem like a productive way of moving forward? There needs to be a decision maker. There needs to be somebody for the owner driving the bus. Or it's this endless loop that we're in now. And I've heard nothing here that gives me even the inkling that that's going to change. I just see Mike taking on problems to bring back to a committee for the committee to discuss. And it just screams more inefficiency.
Well, Eric, to your point, I mean, if we're gonna have Mike go to every meeting and do that, then,
It's only, what are they on, once a week?
well, you know, initially when we appointed the committee, that was their job. Can you,
Well,
as the chair of the committee, can you do
I've
this?
given a solution on, a recommendation on what we can do internally to change some of the processes.
Well, you recommended putting Mike
Well,
and getting Mike involved. But when we go, if we go back to when you came to us and said, you want to keep track of this, you want to be on a committee because you think you could do it, and you've been involved in building committees, and you've worked with OPMs, and you've done all this stuff, and you wanted to make sure that this thing goes forward,
Yeah,
we're falling behind. And I understand you have a day job. That's fine. But we can't just stop everything because you have a day job. If we need to find somebody else to be on the committee, then we have to find somebody else. I mean,
If
that's up,
your way out of this, you guys, you know,
Well-
you want a different chair? 'Cause
well,
that's
well,
what
right
we're
now,
going
right now,
with.
you're the chair of the committee,
Yeah.
and we need to know that you can,
I can do it. I've done it before. I did the police station. I've worked with the OPMs. What you need to do is let us do our job. We'll do it.
well, I get that. There's a lot of money involved here, and I have, like I said, I'm responsible. You know, we could say, all right, well, the committee's responsible, but ultimately, we appoint the committee. You know, Brooke and John and I appointed the committee, right, back in the day. But, you know, you say, well, let us do our job, but, you know,
You're beating around the bush, Jason, and please stop it, because, you know, I don't like the way that it's going.
what do you mean?
I'm not gonna say anymore.
You gonna say something?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think the main thing is, it's clear that there are owner responsibilities that have not moved forward, and so we just need to figure out a solution to do that. So if it's having those posted meetings every week, so that communication gets back to us more regularly, so that we can help with some of those things, because, you know, frankly, I hadn't heard any of this information. I knew there were a few things. I knew about the kitchen, I knew about the roof. And we were able to make some change orders. The kitchen, I'm not sure has been resolved yet, but I feel like that's a really good price. But anyway, if you have some suggestions around how you think, you know, we can fix some of this communication breakdown, or, you know, move forward on some of these owner responsibilities, I would love to hear that too, because I just feel like, you know, we have to resolve this in some way, and I don't know what that looks like, but I'd like to hear suggestions.
Yeah, thanks. With or without going to a public meeting, there are dates in the weekly OAC meetings. So there's an item, a description, it's numbered, it's sequenced, when it came up, so you can see this
Yeah.
came up 2, 3, 5 weeks ago, 8
Okay.
weeks lingering. There's a due date and there's a responsibility.
Okay,
I can simply copy everybody on the select board.
That would be
or,
great.
As I was asked before, if I send it to Selectmen
Mm-hmm.
email, it will get to all of you.
Yep.
yes, and
You
that
will.
would be super helpful. I saw
Then-
that you sent a bunch
then-
of the back meetings, so,
The new ones as they come out, open them up. Your commitment is to open them, read them,
Yeah.
look for the highlighted item that says owner.
Mhm.
That means the committee is being asked to make a decision that they either can't make, or there's some, you know, I don't know that they can make a decision today to tell the water district, you go get the PRV valve, you put the PRV valve in, and save us all the contractor markup and all the BS that we're going through tonight. I don't know who really has the authority to do that.
yeah.
I know you're saying they can meet and vote on it.
Did you
But I
forward,
walk
did
away
you
from
forward
that.
that
I
to
think
us?
that's us.
What?
Did you forward that to us?
It's in the meeting minutes over the past couple weeks. But no, it has
Can,
not
can,
been
can you
forwarded to you
send it to the
as a
selectmen?
specific item.
Send it to the selectmen's email, please.
Sure. Those are the kind of
We'll,
things.
we'll get it taken
that
care
a
of by the end of the week.
decision maker or a decision body needs to say, hey, put that on the item for our next select board meeting. We need to direct so-and-so to go do this.
Yeah,
That's what's not been happening.
okay.
We need to direct, you know, the water line, it's great, it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 4 months from when the committee voted one day to say, yes, Jamie, here's the money, open up the pot, go.
Mm-hmm.
So then to be dealing with a late payment on a bill
Hmm.
4 months later,
Mhm.
you're absolutely right as a board, you should be upset.
Mm-hmm.
But it's somewhat defending the committee. They made that decision.
Mhm.
they don't direct Jamie or the water district when to do work.
Right.
So we all
So
sat and
that's
wait
what you
for a
need.
water line until the contractor's saying, when's my water line come?
Yeah. So what you're saying is, the committee made the decision, they approved this work, and you need us to step in for follow-through and, you know, making sure that the communication
Well,
happens to the
this
water
Jamie's
department.
point, somebody needs to be the decision maker. to
Sure,
say,
sure.
Go.
Yep,
And
And if that's
not
us,
me,
then-
it's not the architect, it's
Yes.
not the committee.
yep. So it sounds like you need us to step in for some follow-up and, which
Well, the thing is
sounds appropriate to me.
somebody, whether it's Tony or Eric or Mike or whoever,
Mhm.
needs to tell us there's an issue,
Yes,
we need to step
absolutely. That's
And-
the first step.
okay?
Right.
And then we can make things happen.
Yep,
But we can't do it if we don't know about it, and we can't do it on time if we don't know about it in a timely fashion.
Better communication.
yep.
Right. Eric, you good with that?
Okay.
Because you're gonna have two people at the meetings anyway, right?
At
Typ-
least-
typically-
There's always been at least two.
Okay. So if there's
He
any,
comes when he can, Randy, it's his building, he's always around.
right, so if there's any issues, somebody can talk to Eric about it, and
Yep.
it can get to us if there's an issue that can't be resolved.
We generally meet on Thursdays.
Okay.
This week's a little funky. John, I did see an email, you still wanna have a meeting this Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not gonna be, well, I'll be virtual. Next week is our in-person.
All right.
You'll get a follow-up
And-
email after that with the owner's hot list.
And
Perfect.
I would
Thank
like for the committee to figure out how they're gonna go about meeting more often, because they do have to start looking at places that are potential for cutting in the event we need to, with contingencies. Okay, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I just think that there ought to be a direction given that says, you know, formally, we should be coming up, the collective group, the committee, the contractor, the OPM, us, coming
Okay.
up with a list of potential cost savings, so that we can vet some of those out to make sure which ones are gonna give us the best return on
Okay,
the value based on, you know, what's ordered, what isn't.
Not installing boxes of tiles that we just drop off on your doorstep really doesn't save.
yeah, so,
Right.
all right, so Tony, can you facilitate
Mm-hmm.
that meeting?
Yeah.
And let us know when it is, so maybe one of us can be there as well. So, all right. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Gentlemen, do you have anything else?
Nope.
Anybody else have anything? Brandon, you always have something.
Yeah, I just wondering, is there a plan if the third building can't get done? Seems to me, every project I can think of, the library, the school, it always came back to the town for more money. And like you said, there is no more money. Right now, you add all these projects on, and our current debt, we're right around $25 million. Which is, I think historically, $13 million was the highest we've ever been in debt. So you're absolutely right. You can't go back then to the town for any more money. You know, same thing, being on the capital improvement planning committee. I've done a 5-year look back, and you know, we've been fortunate in the past 5 years where we've had borrowing capacity. We've had ARPA money, $1.4 million. We've had green gold money, $500,000. We've had COVID relief funds, I think that was around $600,000, all in the past few years. That's all gone. So there has to be discipline instilled in every department. I'm not just picking on this project, but every department. You can't just wait till the end of the year, end of the project, and come back and say, oh, we need more money. Let's just wait.
That's another reason why we had this meeting tonight. because we can't come back.
Yeah. But I just wanna know, is there a plan, or will there be a plan put in place if the third building can't get completed?
Well, that's what the next meeting's gonna be about with those guys. That Tony just said he's gonna facilitate.
And then will you be doing an update on that?
Hopefully, we're gonna be adding project updates to our agenda items,
Yeah.
for every meeting
Each
now.
meeting.
So, going forward. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's see what else we got. Sustainable Materials Grant.
Yeah,
Is this,
that one.
all right, so it says, congratulations, it's my pleasure to inform you that the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection has awarded the town recycling dividends program, the town's, recycling dividends program funds under the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program for $5,250. It's in the Green Communities Act. Which directs a portion of the proceeds from the sale of waste energy certificates to recycling programs. Okay. So, do we know what it needs to be used on, or is it anybody?
Yeah, it's for, they pay us they give us a chunk of money for our waste, how we get rid of our waste and how we recycle, and there's a memo that goes out every spring that says you have to buy as much recycled stuff as you possibly can. This is, we
There's
do
an
this every single
approved,
year.
there's an approved list. I think one year we used it on more bags or something, didn't we?
All right, well, that's,
Purchase?
the Board of Health goes,
They,
They'll-
yeah,
Yeah, it's all
I think
through the
they
Board of Health. Really,
do
it's-
it.
You guys have
Okay.
to sign it, but.
Yeah.
all right, well, I'll entertain a motion to accept the $5,250 from the Department of Environmental Protection Sustainable Materials Recovery Program.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We did that. What's the,
That's, the materials, we have to choose materials for the complete streets. That little piece. Three options. Is that right? The stamped concrete?
Yes.
The pavers and like little bricks, and then, or I think they're bricks, I'm assuming. And
They are.
they are bricks, okay. And then the flexible porous paving, which was a new suggestion. That was the.
Yeah, I got a estimate for that, not a hard number.
Yes.
all right. What was the estimate that you got, Mike?
I believe it was 50,000. That was the middle option. The stamped concrete, which would be poured in place, was the least expensive, and the pavers were the most expensive.
Did see pictures of the stamped concrete. It does look pretty good. It would look nice.
But it's my understanding that the DDC prefers the pavers, which are the most expensive option, but they have that additional $100,000 to work with, and felt like, yeah, do you want to say something? Felt like it would match what was put in the
I
Little
don't
Town Park.
think we really decided on a preferred one. I
Okay.
think we're just would like to see the project completed,
Yep.
and.
Well, they won't be able to do this till spring anyway, right?
So, I mean, if you.
So do we have to decide on it tonight?
No.
Yeah, you wanna.
Maybe you guys wanna talk about it more as a committee then?
Well, wait for a recommendation, we can do that, but,
Yeah, I'd like to give it
my
another couple
understanding,
weeks.
we really haven't discussed it as far as,
Yeah, plus we need that other quote in,
yeah.
hard number, so let's do that again in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Look at that again. All right, what else we got here?
The aquatic invasive study.
All right. You wanna read that one?
Sure. Dear Physical Development Committee, on behalf of the town of North Brookfield, I'm writing to express our commitment to participate in Phase 1 of CMRPC's Quabog River Valley Aquatic Invasive Study and to express our support for seeking matching funds through the District Local Technical Assistance. CMRPC has applied for $28,000 in Massachusetts Executive Office and Energy and Environmental Affairs, EEA, Planning Assistance Grant funding to study the presence and impact of aquatic invasives in 4 towns in the Quabog River Valley: East Brookfield, North Brookfield, Spencer, and West Brookfield. While EEA PAG funding is pending, the town of North Brookfield has committed 12 hours of local planning assistance hours, equivalent to $900, to support the local match. The towns of East Brookfield, North Brookfield, Spencer, and West Brookfield are requesting $3,400 in DLTA funds to cover the remaining portion of the local match. Specifically, this study will investigate invasive species that impair water quality within the Quabog River Valley, assess the area's vulnerability to further aquatic habitat degradation, and develop a roadmap toward implementing priority mitigation strategies. A pivotal component of the roadmap toward implementing priority mitigation strategies is capacity building and forming connections between local, regional, and non-governmental entities. As part of this study, CMRPC will evaluate potential partnership opportunities for a future invasives mitigation collaborative that will serve to alleviate local burden and promote the exchange of knowledge and resources. Overall, DLTA funds would allow CMRPC to establish a regional approach for addressing priorities established in previous municipal planning processes. The town of North Brookfield has worked with CMRPC on several projects in recent years, including projects that assess the climate vulnerabilities that lead to and the natural hazards that result from the proliferation of invasive species. Such projects include North Brookfield's 2019 Hazard Mitigation Plan update and North Brookfield's 2022 Open Space and Recreation Plan update. This study is an opportunity to address priorities identified through previous municipal planning processes.
I'll entertain a motion to sign the letter to, for the Quabog River Valley Aquatic Invasive Study.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
No, I think it's a great opportunity to share resources for this kind of thing, so.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, so now we have to choose a representative to the school negotiations. So when the school committee negotiates with the teachers' union, they have to invite the Board of Selectmen to send a representative to it. And their first negotiations are scheduled for Thursday, January 9th at 6 p.m. So I'll entertain a motion to appoint someone. And when you make the motion, you can put it in there. Whoever should be appointed to it, to the negotiations at the school.
So moved, and if you're open to it, I would nominate you, Jason, since you've done it in the past. And my husband is on that committee, so therefore.
Well, make the motion.
I did.
All right.
Make a motion.
Second that motion.
All right. Any discussion? No discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But you were gonna say no. Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Likewise.
Yeah, I know, that's a tough one.
All right, public comment period. Okay.
We have one more
Brandon's
thing.
was first.
No?
Okay.
I just want to remind everybody, tomorrow night is North Brookfield's first night event ever. Things look like they're going really well. We have venues lined up along Main Street, the Congregational Church, the library, town offices, the Historical Museum,
Town hall.
Town Hall. Jars is going to be open. The senior housing, the community room, they're going to be doing events. So, and on the Common, 4 to 6 p.m. is a bonfire at a hot dog stand that's from Winter Street. I forget the guy's name. Sorry.
Long Branch.
Long Branch hot dogs. Cart will be there, as well as music provided by Tabby LeBlanc. And really, I just personally want to thank everybody on the committee who's worked so hard, and our collaboration with the Cultural Council has been great, and I hope people come out and enjoy it. Thank you.
John?
Sounds fabulous. Thank you.
I think the town should acknowledge and thank North Brookfield Farms and the Algu family for their generous donation to the fire department 2 weeks ago when Santa Claus was at the gas station for the kiddos. They donated enough money to buy 4, I guess they call them attack hoses for the fire trucks. Donnie Berthune was there, and Peter Durant was there, along with a good number of the fire department members and EMS. And
Oh, no, they definitely should be recognized.
Right, I was gonna make a statement
I
about
didn't
that.
even know about that. That's fantastic.
it was in the
Great.
Quabog Current. I got a hold of Paula Rimet that does the articles for them, and she came up, took some pictures. And also, Darren has gone for grant money to buy more hose, which I know he said at one of the meetings prior. We are thousands of feet shy on hose that we need. This hose that the fire trucks carry is what actually puts the fire out, along with the guys when your house is on fire, your car, or your field, or whatever. So I think grants are nice, but they don't always come through, and when they do come through, sometimes they're a year away. I don't think the town can wait a year for a lot of this hose, where I think a lot of the townspeople can donate money towards this project. I personally gave Darren $100 while I was standing there after all was said and done towards the hose project. And I think it would be good if more people in town, it's not a tax, it's not a fee, it's not a levy, it's a donation that could help the fire department put your house out if it's on fire. It would be good to have more people donate. And I know Darren had said you can send a check for whatever amount of money you want and put on it, send it to the fire department, and put in the notation for the hoses or nozzles that they desperately need to put back on the trucks.
Yep,
So-
if people want to donate, that's fine, they can.
Yep.
We did give them permission to buy hoses,
We
Yeah.
did. Yep.
and we're looking for more funding options
Yeah,
and
I
see
know
where
there
we get
was
more
like
money to.
$7,000 wasn't
Yeah,
there?
and we're looking for more funding options to get more hoses. Algu's North Brookfield Farms definitely needs to be recognized for their contribution.
Yeah, that's
Four
fabulous.
hoses, right?
4 hoses.
Yep.
Wow.
Um,
Great.
Aren't donations supposed to go through you guys?
Donations need to come through the town of North Brookfield.
Well, not specifically the Board of Selectmen, though.
They need to be made out to the town
They
of
go
North
through the
Brookfield.
treasurer. They'll have to be, yeah.
Yeah, but the checks need to be written out to the town of North Brookfield and put in the memo what the check's for and that it's a donation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, John.
On your agenda, what's the belt thing?
That was the complete streets.
Oh,
Tree belt,
Yeah.
it's that like little
Between the curb
space
and the
between
It's
the
the belt.
sidewalk
It's a
and
belt that a
the
tree guy
curb.
uses to climb the tree.
that's what I say.
That was what I thought. I'm like, anyway,
We'll draft a letter for next week.
we've been warning you not to talk.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say yes.
Anybody else? Public comment period? All right, so we have, coming up, we have a proposed policy for earth removal and fill bylaw. That will be a discussion on, draft for discussion on,
We were supposed to talk about it a
so
while
was
ago.
the planning board gonna discuss this, or are we gonna discuss this, this is a future town meeting, right? That this would be, because it's a
Planning
bylaw.
board sent it to us.
To get our
Sent it to you
feedback
guys
on
To
it.
get your feedback
Okay.
and to see if town council needed to review, and I did not hear back from
Okay,
anybody.
so we'll talk about it in 2
Okay.
weeks. We'll have it on there in 2 weeks. John, you're on the planning board, right? You're on the planning board too, right?
Yeah, because it's a general bylaw, not a zoning bylaw, that's why it's.
Right.
Because we don't have one.
Right,
Specifically says how sand pits
sure.
operate, so we were putting it in the bylaw.
All right. All right, so that's our future agenda item there, and like I said, we're gonna have project updates on the agendas going forward. We're gonna need an update from the sewer plant project, because there were some issues there. We're gonna have, I think, Mount Pleasant Street is done for the winter. Then we'll have to take that back up. And then we've got, obviously, the complete streets is gonna continue on. And then, of course, the buildings.
there is a grant opportunity that Kim is working on, the Mass DOT
Mm-hmm.
route,
Okay,
numbered route paving project.
perfect. Yep, if she needs anything from us, let us know. All right.
Good night, everyone.
Tonight.
Good night. All right, so now, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session
So moved.
for collective bargaining, and we will exit executive session only to adjourn. Jason Petrides, yes?
Brooke Canada, yes.
Von Schlegel, yes.
Okay,